All we do is take out the dirty power system, the dirty power generation in a system, and just replace it with some clean stuff. Put a solar panel on top of this system. But we don't deal with how we are consuming water. We don't deal with how we're treating our other sister and brother species. We don't deal with toxins. We don't deal with the way we treat each other. If that's not a part of this movement, let me tell you what you'll have. This is all you'll have. You'll have solar-powered bulldozers, solar-powered buzzsaws, and biofueled bombers, and we'll be fighting wars over lithium for the batteries instead of oil for the engines, and we'll still have a dead planet. This movement is deeper than a solar panel. Deeper than a solar panel. Don't stop there. Don't stop there. No, we're going to change the whole system. We're going to change the whole thing.
Okay. Did you notice that he said if we don't work on how we treat each other? This is social justice. Social justice. Making up for the problems of the past. That's what that is. Social justice. There were mistakes made in the past. Let's fix those. Let's balance things out. America, it's time we stop accepting the claim that this man is an average, everyday capitalist America. Those of you in Washington, I know the White House watches this show every night. Boy, I can't even imagine how thick the file is on me. I know there are also people in the Capitol that watch this program. When will you wake up? I know there are good, decent people, left and right, Democrats and Republicans, that watch this program. How much more evidence do you need that we have radicals in the White House? Oh, we haven't even begun. If you think you need more, we need to at least in this country start having the necessary discussion of, do we want communists in the United States government as special advisors to the president? To be honest with you, and maybe it's just me, I don't even want communists having lunch with our president. When Putin was having an hour with President Obama, I know he had to do it, but I wasn't comfortable with it. Barack Obama did not campaign on openly changing the whole system. This is weird. I'm not saying this is what President Obama did, but boy, I am, based on the fact that he will not reject this man and others like him in this administration, I'm beginning to wonder, didn't Venezuela, didn't Chavez, wasn't he democratically elected? I don't believe he campaigned as a communist. But boy, things sure changed once he got into office. President Obama did leave telltale signs. He did, 5 days before the election, tell us this much.
We are 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America.
Okay, very few Americans paid attention back then. Are you paying attention now? I'm sorry, you know, my apologies to this audience, because you get it. You've been watching. You've been listening. You're probably saying, yes, I know. So what do? We need to wake our neighbors up. The Democrats, the game players, and wake them up and say, you don't hate the country. You don't hate the Constitution. You're not trying to destroy America. Listen to these words. If our founding principles are no longer relevant, if the system in which this country was founded is somehow unjust or unworkable now, and communism, Marxism, socialism, statism, whatever it is we're headed towards is right and the relevant path, then that is the discussion that you have in America. But to subversively bring in a whole new system through the back door in the middle of the night, that is unacceptable. But this goes further than whether Van Jones is a capitalist or a communist. I want you to see if you recognize any patterns here. Listen to what Van Jones has said at this same conference back in March.
Native American sisters and brothers who were pushed and bullied and mistreated and shoved into all the land we didn't want. where it was all hot and windy. Well, guess what? Renewable energy. Guess what? Solar industry. Guess what? Wind industry. They now own and control 80% of the renewable energy resources. No more broken treaties. No more broken treaties. Give them the wealth. Give them the wealth. Give them the dignity. Give them the respect that they deserve. No justice on stolen land. We owe them a debt.
Let me go back up here. Can you believe wealth should be taken from one group and given to another based on race? And should anyone that believes that work with the President of the United States? Give them the wealth. Give them the wealth. Is that what you voted for? Does it sound familiar at all? Have we heard that before?
We believe God sanctioned the rape and robbery of an entire continent. We believe God ordained African slavery. We believe God makes Europeans superior to Africans and superior to everybody else too.
I don't believe that. It may also bring to mind the man who gave the prayer at President Obama's inauguration ceremony, a man whom the President just bestowed the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the Reverend Joseph Lowry. Listen to what he says here.
Joy of a new beginning. We ask you to help us pray for that day when black will not be asked to get back, when brown can stick around, when yellow will be mellow, when the red man can get ahead, man, and when white will embrace what is right.
When white will embrace what is right. This was discussed at the time, and nobody said anything, and you heard the crowd, they all laughed, and everybody thought, oh, this old man. You know, that's just a flashback from the 1960s and the movement back in the 60s, and that's, you know, it was the way people spoke back then. It was also, Jeremiah Wright became the crazy uncle of Barack Obama, and he said crazy things, and we all have crazy uncles. What is the excuse on Van Jones? Let's try it again. Here is more from Van Jones. Again, to be fair, this is from his ancient history catalog titled This Last March.
What about our immigrant sisters and brothers? What about our immigrant sisters and brothers? What about people who come here from all around the world who we're willing to have out in the fields with poison being sprayed on them, because we have the wrong agricultural system, and then we're willing to poison them and poison the earth to put food on our table, but we don't want to give them rights, and we don't want to give them dignity, and we don't want to give them respect.
We don't want to give them rights? No, come through the front door. I want you here. If you're willing to do those jobs that, quite honestly, lazy Americans just think they're above, I want you here. You renew us. But let's go back here. We're now intentionally poisoning immigrants. We're now intentionally poisoning. Well, who is we? This is from an interview he did as the head of the Ella Baker Center.
Really entering a third wave of environmentalism in the United States. The white polluters and the white environmentalists are essentially steering poison into the people of color communities.
Okay. What did we tell you last night? That he found a better way to bring his message, a more mainstream way. George Soros and his blogging minions now are saying that Van Jones just had a few youthful indiscretions. When? How old was he in March? How is he now a fully converted capitalist? I didn't hear it there. He's qualified to make decisions at the highest levels of our government? Or he's at least involved in them? Did you take him at his word? Should we take him at his word when he said, and I quote, I am willing to forego the cheap satisfaction of the radical pose